Hey everyone, my name is Jaleesa, aka It's Just J Renee, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to sip on some tea and I am going to spill my personal experience of Norwegian Aqua. This way, if anyone is deciding to plan a cruise or you've thought about planning a cruise and don't know what you should do, you have at least a little bit of guidance of what the ship is about and you can make the best decision for you. Today we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and the fixable.
I like it, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm running away, yeah, yeah. I like it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I like it, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm running away, yeah, yeah. I like it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna start this video talking about the good of Norwegian Aqua, everything that I loved. And starting off is going to be the design. As soon as you walk into the ship, you have an open space, a beautiful atrium. That is your first introduction to Norwegian Aqua. And I think the designers did an incredible job with that. I love the color blue. And they definitely did a great job making sure that Aqua was seen throughout the entire ship. There's a lot of seating areas. You never feel like you're sitting on top of each other for the most part. There are some spaces that I'm going to get into later. Well, there's at least one space I'm going to get into later that I had an issue with, but overall, they did an incredible job with the design. It was modern, it was sleek, it was clean. It just felt like a brand new ship. Now, while we're on the subject of design, let's get into the insider cabin. This was my first introduction to an insider cabin, and I was not disappointed. Honestly, I was nervous before sailing on this cruise because I just did not know what to expect, and I did not want my sister and I to be on top of each other because even though we're rooming together, we do need space. And the insider cabin did not disappoint. It was definitely spacious. There was not a moment in the room where we were bumping into each other. We were able to keep our separate sides with no issue. There was a lot of storage space for our suitcases because this trip, I normally sail with a carry-on, but because I was sailing out of New York City, I decided to bring a large suitcase so that I can have like gifts and things for my clients and take back goodies that I was going to get. So it definitely, like, even though it was an insider, you're not going to be on top of each other. I definitely say, like, if you're on a budget, book the insider because you won't be disappointed. And that was the best sleep that I had ever had on a cruise, to be honest, because you don't have the sunlight peeking through. Like, you don't know what time of day it is, which could be dangerous because you could wake up late. But definitely book the insider. The bathroom space was large. It was larger than when we sailed on Virgin, and on Virgin we had a balcony cabin, so that says a lot. It's not tight at all. It definitely felt like we were on a new ship because it just felt like Norwegian was just doing something different when it came to spacing. Now, let's discuss the entertainment, because with every cruise, you want to know how the entertainment is. And I personally had 3 highlights for me. The first highlight when it came to entertainment was the Prince Revolution show. They did a great job of bringing Prince's music to life. When it came to like the singing and dancing, they didn't have one performer doing everything. They had different performers and each song fit the performer's voice perfectly. The lighting was on point. The staging, because at one point, the staging moved around. They were trying to get audience participation. I just think like the show, if you are planning to sail, that is going to be the highlight of your entertainment on the ship. The next thing was the Element show. There was only 2 shows when we were sailing. It was a 4-day cruise. The Element show was of the elements like earth, wind, fire. You had all of that, snow. They did a good job of bringing that to life. They had live fire on the stage. At one point, I was nervous. I don't want to give it away, but there was a magician and, he was doing what magicians do. Seeing magicians as a kid, we know that everything is illusion, but you still get nervous when you see like they about to cut somebody in half. I'm not even going to hold you. I was like, my feet were like I was sitting at the edge of my seat because I was like, oh my God, is he really gonna cut that woman? But they did a great job with the lighting and staging. I think shows is something that Norwegian Aqua does well. Is it a Broadway show? No, but you'll still be entertained. It's not bad at all. So definitely if you're sailing Norwegian Aqua, you want to check out the shows. The next form of entertainment that I loved was our DJ. Now, DJs on a cruise ship can be a hit and miss, and this man did not disappoint. I did not catch his name because there was just so much going on during my trip. But when it came to the diversity of music, he did an incredible job because we had, like, this was the most diverse cruise ship that I have sailed. When I say diverse, I mean you had white, black, Asian, Indian. Like, it was just a nice mixture, and he did a great job of bringing all the genres together. At the 90s night, he started it off like with rock, and then eventually we ended with R&B. Everybody had a good time. When we would go dancing at night, like, he was playing music. He was playing new music. Like, I'm not a Sexy Red listener, but he was playing Sexy Red, and I'm like, that says a lot, because what other cruise line is playing Sexy Red on a cruise ship? Let's be honest. He did a great job of making sure everybody entertained. At one point, we had a Congo line going around the club at night. And then you had your slides. Like, we had a good time. Now that we've discussed entertainment, let's move on to activities, because let's be honest, nobody wants to be bored while they're on a cruise. I think the activities that Norwegian Aqua did well was the Glow Court. The Glow Court, you're definitely going to want to check it out. Everybody gets 15 minutes. Like, you just go up and you let them know, hey, I want to use the Glow Court. You give them your card and you get 15 minutes. And it's not just basketball. There are different interactive games that you can pick from. My brother and my niece, they had daddy-daughter time that I imposed on and I watched. But they played basketball, and then they played like this Lord of the Rings looking kind of game. And honestly, it was just a good time, and I think it's a good concept for the ship. No other ship is doing it. Of course, you have the water slides. That my niece did the water slide. I did not get to capture her, but she said it was a lot of fun. And then she did the big drop slide. I'm not a daredevil, but she got through it and she loved it. She loves thrills. So she did enjoy it. And then you have the golfing. The golfing was $5 per person. It is an interactive golf game. And they have like different themes and like trivia. Your family's gonna enjoy golf if you like mini golf. They also had a game room. Now, if you saw my vlog, at the end, I asked my nephew, Kai, did you have a good time? And he flat out said no. But since we've gotten home, he cannot stop talking about the game room. Actually, I'm planning on taking him on another cruise this summer. And he straight out told me, like, the game room better be the same way it was in Norwegian Aqua. I don't think it's going to be at that level, but I still think he's going to have a good time. But yeah, he did really enjoy his time on Norwegian Aqua because he keeps talking about the ship, especially the game room. There was a lot of like games that you paid for, but then there were also games that were free. And we went to the game room on the day when everything was shut down, which we spent a lot of time there, and the kids enjoyed themselves. So definitely the game room is a plus when you're sailing on Norwegian Aqua. Now, when it comes to your everyday activities, I cannot give you a fair review because of the app, which we'll discuss later on in this video. I just had a hard time trying to find things to do. Again, I will discuss it later and you will see why, but I cannot give you a fair review on like their daily itinerary. Now that we've talked about the entertainment, the activities, I'm gonna get into what I think is everybody's favorite part of cruising, and that is the food. In my personal opinion, food, it can make or break your trip, because if you have a lot of bad food on a cruise, you're just not gonna enjoy your vacation. There were 4 spots on Norwegian Aqua that I thought was a great addition to the brand. This is my first time sailing on that brand. And the first food place I think is a great value or Norwegian is the local bar and grill. Now, the local bar and grill, to me, it was almost 24 hours. So if you wanted to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, you can get up and go get you something to eat from the local bar and grill when everything else is closed. They had burgers, they had fries, they had chicken wings. And the chicken wings for me was one of my favorite foods to eat during this sailing because it was grilled. Now, I am a cancer survivor. I'm trying to stay away from fried foods. So the chicken being grilled was like a plus. It was well seasoned. The sauce was good. I definitely enjoyed that particular eatery place. And my niece, there were times where she wanted to get away. She wanted one-on-one time. And that was where we were able to take her and hang out and eat and just talk and catch up about what's going on in her life. It was one of my favorite spots to eat. Actually, it was my favorite spot to eat. Well, the second favorite spot to eat on the ship. I definitely recommend this eatery when you are sailing on Norwegian Aqua, especially on the first day. The first day we tried the buffet and it was completely crowded. You're better off waiting for a reservation at the local bar. The second place is main dining. Now, main dining, I would have to say, was top for me. Top in food choices. And main dining breakfast, not main dining overall. Main dining breakfast. I'm very specific. Main dining breakfast. The main dining breakfast I only had 2 times on the ship. And honestly, I wish that I had eaten it every day that I was sailing. It was only a 4-day cruise. But I just wish I would have just started off eating there. And that's where I would have had my breakfast throughout the entire sailing. I mean, they had your standard waffles, pancakes, sausage, fruits, but everything was just so fresh. And even the fruit, I think I went to the last sea day, I went to main dining. That was the first time I went. And when I tell you that food, I wasn't expecting the fruit to be so fresh. If you are a fruit person, you are going to love the fruit there. The waffles were good. The sausage was good. It just felt like we were on a different ship in general when we ate in that main dining breakfast. So I think that's definitely worth a try. It's open from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So you are going to have to get up early if you're not a morning person, but it is worth it if you love to eat. The third place that I liked on Norwegian was Anda by Scarpetto, which was the Italian spot. Now, during the sailing, we sailed with my friend, and she is Italian. So like American Italians do, because there is a difference. They love to eat. And we were at Anda. Go check out the video because there's a lot of funny moments in Anda. But when we were in Anda, we had a taste of a lot of things, which we weren't supposed to do. But, they gave us a pass. But the food was good. We had bruschetto. There was a seafood melody appetizer. There was a shrimp pasta. And then there was branzino. Me and Jasmine and Elissa ended up sharing some of the branzino. But there was a shrimp pasta. That was really good. So we all ended up getting our own. I definitely think it is worth it to make a reservation. Try the specialty dining. I feel like specialty dining is always better than main dining. But if you're bowling on a budget, then stick to main dining. I mean, the food in main dining wasn't terrible, but it wasn't anything to write about either. And last is Indulge Food Hall. It wasn't my favorite place, but there were a lot of good dishes that I did try. Indulge Food Hall is the equivalent to the food court on Virgin Voyages, in my opinion. They have different stations, which is different cultures. My go-to when I cruise is Indian and Asian food because of how cruises cruise chefs tend to season that food a lot better than other food choices. And the Indian food that I ate on board was really good. And they had like a noodle station with a bunch of different noodles. I was thinking ramen, but there was noodles that I never tried before. And we got a little bit of everything. And the noodles overall were good. I think there was one noodle I didn't like because it had peanuts in it. I wasn't like fond of the way they seasoned it. But overall, what I ate in Indulge Food Hall did not disappoint. I did not mention the buffet. You'll hear about the buffet later on, as I said before. But that is it when it comes to food. Now, last but not least, of things that I found good with Norwegian is the spa. The spa had to be my favorite part of the ship. If anyone knows me, if you watched my other travel vlogs in the past, you know I love a good spa. And Norwegian Aqua, they did their thing. I have to say they did their thing. The design was beautiful. And the space was like, it was worth the money. So when you're sailing, on our trip, it was $200. That's a 4-day. It was $200 to use it for the whole week. And I honestly wish that I would have gotten that pass, had I known what I know now. I definitely, if you're going to sail, get the spa pass so that you can go in and out because it is worth it. They had a sauna with different rooms, like an ice room, a salt room. They had like this little waterfall shower thing that you'll see in the vlog if you haven't watched it. We just had a good time in that part of the spa. They have a quiet room that like looks out in the water, and you could take a nap, and the seats are heated. And then of course the hot tubs. They had a bubbling hot tub and a cold plunge. Now they do like for you to be quiet in the pool area, but you know, when you're cruising, you meet a lot of people. Like, we were all just having a good time. So a couple of times, the people had to come and tell everyone, like, this is the quiet area, but nobody wanted to be quiet. But I did enjoy my time at the spa. It was like, if you've ever been to New Jersey and seen Sojo Spa, if you've ever been to Sojo Spa, it was like they took Sojo Spa and made like a mini version on a cruise ship. I definitely think it's worth the money. Get the pass if you can, especially on a 4-day cruise. It is so worth it. So now that you've heard all the positives of Norwegian Aqua from my personal experience, now we're going to get into the bad. But before we do, just want to let you in on what I am drinking, the tea I'm sipping on this afternoon. And today I have vanilla lavender tea, and it is from Bridgerton Experience. It is Earl Grey tea. I did not put any sweetener in it. The lavender and vanilla is enough where you don't need to add any type of sugar or honey or anything like that. It's perfect the way it is. In my personal opinion, when I drink tea, I usually drink it straight and usually go for more flavorful teas. That way you don't have to put anything else in it. But I am just sitting here enjoying my afternoon, talking to you about my experience on Norwegian. So let's get into what I thought was bad, but most of the things in the bad list is also fixable. So we're going to start off with the check-in process. Now, we sailed Norwegian Aqua during hurricane season, and we were originally supposed to be going to Bermuda, but we got rerouted like 2 days before to Canada because the weather reports, it was just that bad that people, that Norwegian decided to change, and they also wanted to give people chances to cancel their cruise, I guess, before the manifesto went to the ship. For those of you who don't know, the manifesto is like the list that cruise lines send to the ship the night before or 2 days before, just to let them know like how many people are actually going to be sailing this cruise. So I want to say we traveled on the Tuesday, and Sunday was the day that they announced the switch. They announced the switch on Sunday. It gave people time to decide what they wanted to do, and that's when we knew that there was going to be a change. So this was Sunday. When we got there, the check-in process was a lot longer than I am used to. I want to say it took us almost an hour to maybe an hour and a half to get on the ship. You would have to go back to the vlogs to see the timestamps because I do tell you. But it was just a long wait to get onto the ship. And the reason why it was a long wait was because when you switch over to Canada, there is certain paperwork that you have to fill out for Canada. And it just looked like everyone was unprepared. Now, cruise lines have been through COVID and hurricanes come every year. It is not a surprise. I have done research and I know for a fact that Norwegian has had to shift the itinerary several times. So I think with that being said, seeing that Norwegian is used to shifting the plans, there should be a plan in place for the staff so they're not running around like looking crazy. I think what would have made the check-in process less long was if there was somebody on the line like handing out the papers that we need and a pen. That way we can like start filling it out, because we didn't have to hand the papers. We didn't have to hand certain papers until like we were about to board the ship. It just made the check-in process easier if there was someone in the line with a tablet, just passing out the paperwork, how many people are in your party, and then they give the proper paperwork to the people in your party, because that is what took up time. Because once we got to the actual front, like the actual table to check in, it was like, okay, I'm scanning this, I'm scanning this, I'm scanning this, and here's your little key. Like they gave us that stuff there, so it just didn't make sense why this line was so long. Like this could have been avoided. Hurricane season happens every year. Just get a plan in place for your staff. Have something. And I know like New York City port, it's not the greatest looking port, but y'all cruise out of there often enough where you can put a plan in place so that when changes do happen, your staff is well prepared, because they were not prepared at all. And since we are on the topic of staff, I think what makes the cruise experience such a great thing is like the engagement with the staff. And honestly, this was the first cruise that the staff seemed to not want to be there. Like when we got off the gangway, there was like one or two people that were like, oh, welcome aboard. But then as soon as we got on there, it was like, ugh, why are y'all here? Like, that's what I was feeling. And honestly, like when you're paying money to travel, and I get that the cruise industry is a stressful industry, but with customer service and hospitality, you should never make your clients feel like, ugh, what are you doing here? I work in customer service, more the medical side, and then of course with my travel agency. And I'm always trying to make sure I'm giving my clients like my best foot forward, even if I'm not feeling up to it. When I was going through chemotherapy, I was still working full time, scheduling appointments for patients, and then booking cruises. And when people found out that I was going through chemo, it was like, they told me you couldn't tell, like you did not give us the fact that you were going through. So I think like they need to do better with training their employees in the customer service area. There were times that it felt like some, not all, but a lot of employees, they had like a preference of the clientele. And me personally, I don't care what suite you book. We're all paying money to be on the same cruise. When we're in certain spaces like public spaces, the service should be the same throughout. It shouldn't feel like, oh, you're not this, I think it's Haven is their suites. You're not Haven, so we're going to treat you like this. Because at the end of the day, I'm still paying my money so that you can get a check at the end of the day. So your service needs to be top tier. Like when we were in the local bar, I loved it. But I did see that they had a preference of people that they, like there were times where we were waiting and they were like catering to people that had came in after us. And if you've been on Norwegian, you know, I don't have to say, I'm not going to say the quiet part out loud. You know what I'm talking about. If you've been on Norwegian, there are certain groups of people that some of the wait staff, they cater to, because Norwegian has like a huge demographic of one group of people, and they cater to their people. But when everybody is paying their money to be on a vacation, you need to be aware that you have to put your best foot forward when it comes to customer service. Like the level of quality should be the same throughout. Because customer service is everyone's introduction. Hospitality is everyone's introduction to your cruise line. That is how they're going to see you. So Norwegian, you need to do better with training your employees on hospitality and customer service. Now that we've discussed customer service, let's get into the entertainment that I experienced on the ship. Now, earlier I said like the DJ and the shows, they were really good. However, there was part of the entertainment that I thought Norwegian could do better. Number one being the sail away party. Like, I don't know if they did the sail away party a little too early. But by the time we got up to like look and watch the boat go away, there was nothing happening. Nothing at all. There was no music. I'm not sure if it was because of the change with the cruise itinerary and the employees were just doing other things, but there needs to be something in place to get, you know, the cruisers hyped and excited for sailing with your cruise line. The sail away party is the kickoff to your experience with Norwegian, and they lack there. Like if you go watch the vlog, we were just standing around and taking pictures of New York City. And honestly, that's something I could have did like a 4-hour dinner cruise and did that if I really wanted to take pictures of the Statue of Liberty the whole time. It was beautiful, like the scenery was beautiful, but I just wish like there was music, there was something playing, like something to get us going. Because the sail away party honestly set the tone for a lot of the entertainment of the cruise, in my opinion. And while we're on entertainment, there were times throughout the sailing that the singers were dry. And I'm not talking about the the show singers. I'm talking about the singers that play throughout the ship. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to be listening to music and have to take a nap after. Like, I want to be able to move around and like dance. And I don't care what kind of music it is. It could be rock, it could be pop, it could be jazz, it could be country music. Just make sure that that music is upbeat. And I think that's one place that Norwegian lacked. Now, like I said before, it was hurricane season. So coming back from Canada, we had like really bad waves where they had to shut everything out down. The glow court, like it was raining, the winds was too much. We couldn't do the water slides on our last sea day. And everybody was inside. Everybody was inside. And this was the first time when cruising that I saw people looking bored out of their mind. And I had never seen that before in my entire life. People were sitting on chairs lounging, like they looked like they wanted to take a nap. And then the music that the entertainers was playing was not helping, because they were playing music that made you want to go to sleep. Like after a while, I was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going back to my room and I'm going to take a nap. And it was just like nothing to do during that part of the ship. And that made me think that Norwegian overall was a boring cruise, because like you should have a plan B, especially if you're doing recreation. You should have a plan B. Like, okay, everybody who is normally outside is inside, then that is the perfect time to be like, hey, look, I know we're stuck inside, but here, we're going to get this activity going. Like, y'all could have did some line dances in the atrium. Y'all could have did something, but playing music that puts everybody to sleep is just crazy work. It's just crazy work. Norwegian needs to do better with planning like the entertainment for the guests. In that term. Again, like I said before, I cannot tell you like about certain events on Norwegian because I had a hard time navigating the app. So I am only giving you based on my experience and what I was seeing from other cruisers and what I was hearing from other cruisers, because other cruisers, while we were sailing, their complaint was like, there's nothing to do outside of the game room when everything was shut down. There literally was nothing to do, and you could go in your room and you could watch movies. They did have good movie options, but outside of that, like if you're not eating, if you're not playing games, there was nothing to do during the day. Now that we've done talking about the entertainment, let's get into dining reservations. Actually, you know what? Before we start off with dining reservations, let's start off with the buffet, because the buffet was the worst buffet I had ever experienced in a cruise. Now, I don't know who designed the buffet part, but they didn't design it so that there was a easy flow of traffic. People were bumping into each other, and instead of like the way it was laid out was the seats are like going this way and the food was up in the front. And that's fine. But the way they set it up, it was like on this side is some of the same food, on this side is some of the same food, but we're gonna add like things that are not over here and things that are not over here. And because you were adding like it, because there wasn't a consistency, people were bumping into each other and it was just hard to navigate. It also felt like very tight. That was the one place of the ship where I have to say that I felt like there was too many people like on the ship, which it wasn't the case. It was not a full sailing, but it felt like there's just too many people here. Of course, in buffets, you know, you're looking around for seats, and that's not an issue. The issue is flow of traffic. The buffet, and this is something you really can't fix. You really cannot fix because the kitchen is already set up, like it's already designed. But I think that the next ship that you plan to build in this class, make it so that the flow of traffic is easy to work with. Like, try putting something in the middle where people could walk around. We were just too all over the place. We were just too on top of each other in the buffet. And now that I've talked about the buffet, also I didn't like their food all that much. There was only like a few things that I ate that I was like, okay, but it wasn't like the best buffet I've ever had. Don't know how you could change that. People are telling me like my experience on Norwegian Aqua, people kept saying, no, you need to try like another Norwegian cruise, because I'm telling you, it's not like this. They specifically told me to try Norwegian Joy. Because like after this sailing, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do a Norwegian ship ever again if this is my experience. I was assured by other people. They were like, no, this is not how things normally are. I actually have a friend who loves sailing Norwegian, but I just think like the design needs to be better your next ship. Now that we discussed the buffet, let's get into the dining, my time dining or freestyle dining. The freestyle dining. So Norwegian Aqua has freestyle dining, which means that you go up to the dining area and you let them know how many people are in your party. And then they tell you, oh, it's going to be this long, it's going to be this long, and then they'll seat you. Now, I have no problem with freestyle dining. However, it does not work when you have a large group. And since we did plan a large group, there were no clear instructions on how to reserve tables. for like, we had a party of 12. There was no clear instructions at all. And honestly, it left me frustrated because I spent a lot of my time, instead of enjoying like amenities on the boat, I spent a lot of my time trying to find staff, and that irritated me. So the first night we went to the main dining, which they told us nobody, when I asked guest services how to like reserve, they're like, oh, you just go to main dining. We went to main dining. I said I had a party at 12. We had a little wait. The thing with their freestyle dining is everybody in your party has to be there. Everyone in your party has to be there. So if you have somebody that is late, like, they need to work on that. Everybody in your party has to be there so that you can be seated, or otherwise they'll give your table away. And we had to wait a little because everybody in our party, even though I had given times, everybody was not ready. So it was a little wait, but the first night we all got seated together. When I was leaving that experience, the service told me, they were like, well, you have a large party, you might want to reserve. I said, well, how do you reserve? They said, well, you're going to go in the morning from this time to this time to main dining. They'll definitely be there from this time to this time, and you can reserve. Now, by the time I got there, they were like, and I did go within the time frame that they told me. There was nobody there. So then I saw a staffer and they sent me to Anda, which is the Italian restaurant that I talked about earlier. And they're like, oh, you need to go to Anda. Went to Anda, there was nobody there. Then I spent time walking around the ship, and I finally found a staff member, and they were like, no, you just need to call this number. When you go to your room, call this number and you can reserve. Now, why didn't anybody tell me that before? Why did the employees who work in dining not know that there was a specific number? I could not tell you. But like, I would have saved so much time had I known that there was a number to call. And honestly, I think it's ridiculous. Like, me personally, I think everything should be in the app. I shouldn't have to be walking around the ship trying to find where I should make reservations, especially if this is my first time sailing with you. Like, you need to make it easier for people to sail with you. And like, that was my pet peeve, because I spent a lot of time trying to find people to make reservations when all I had to do was make a simple phone call. And now that we're talking about the dining reservations and the app, let's get into the Norwegian app. If you saw the vlog, we were at one point, there was a goal party, and we were walking around the ship trying to find where they moved the glow party to. And that is because the app is a PDF. The activities on the app is a PDF file. You heard that right. The activities on the app is a PDF file. This was the worst app that I had ever experienced on a sailing of any cruise line. And I don't think a lot of apps are good, to be honest, when sailing. But this was the absolute worst. I think that like Norwegian needs to invest more dollars into their app, because we pay good money to cruise on Norwegian. Norwegian is not cheap. Norwegian is not a cheap cruise. So with all the money that we're paying, we need a functional app. I think that Norwegian needs to find an engineer, take the time. And apparently they had an app before that was really good. And then they changed. I guess they didn't want to spend money on it. So then they cheapened everything. You can't do that with a brand. You can't. There are certain places you can't cut corners, and you cannot cut corners when it comes to your app. Like the app, that I should be able to look at the app, say, oh, this is what you got going on, and like be able to plan what I'm going to do. And I just couldn't do that. The wording was too small, which made it like, after a while, it just made it like, all right, I'm done trying to find something to do. I'm just going to walk around the ship and see what I could find. Like, it was that bad. Norwegian, we pay good money. Spend a couple of $1,000s on your app. And there should also be like a way for families to communicate with each other. We shouldn't have to buy the Wi-Fi. I think that is like a huge scam, that you're making everybody pay for Wi-Fi just so they could WhatsApp, when you could easily put a chat feature in your app. Because there are plenty of cruise lines that have a chat feature in their app. Is it the best? No, but at least you can communicate with people when you need to. Like, y'all have to do better. Y'all have to make the experience better for cruisers. Like, me as a travel agent, I want to be able to say Norwegian, like if a client comes to me and they say, hey, I want to book a cruise, I want to be able to say, yeah, let me put you on Norwegian because you're going to enjoy yourself. Like, I just think that these are all, everything that I've said in the bad for the most part, except for the buffet, everything can be fixed. You just have to do the work. You have to want to do the work. Thankfully, some of the people that sailed with me, they're willing to try Norwegian again. I actually had a client who was with me and she loved the ship. They enjoyed themselves, which I'm glad to hear, because I'm like, I'm trying to figure out who is Norwegian's target market. I personally would love to see Norwegian get back to their glory days, which is like back in the day when they had partnership with Nickelodeon. Because during that time, like, my friends, they sailed a lot. I didn't sail a lot back then, but my friends always hyped Norwegian up when I was younger. And to go on Norwegian now and experience that cruise line for the first time, like, it honestly made me not want to sail again. And it was mainly because of a lot of to do with the customer service. I think customer service, that's important to me. Might not be important to you. You might just want to get on a ship and eat and cruise, but customer service matters. And when I'm going to put my money into a trip, I want to make sure I'm getting the best customer service as possible. That is all I have for today. I am going to do a lot more sip and spills about my experiences after I do a vlog, just so you can get a bigger picture of everything I experienced. Am I going to try Norwegian again? I'm not going to say I'm not going to try Norwegian again, because I have a couple who I was on the cruise with, and they told me specifically again to try Norwegian Joy because their experience on Norwegian Joy was incredible. And they were like, Norwegian is normally not like this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. And they sail out of New York frequently. So, I may give it another chance. I just don't know when. But that is all the time that I have for today. I hope you can take the information that I give you and decide what you're going to do, if you're going to travel with Norwegian or if you're just going to do something else. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.